Pop A. Warm up 10 to 15 minutes. Write down on the board the productive failure questions. These are difficult questions for most children to solve. Do not write any answer choices on the board. Write just the question. Or simply dictate the question and let the children write it down on their rough sheets. Ask the children to solve this question on their rough sheets of paper. Tell them not to share their working or solutions with other children.
Do it on your own, no sharing of the work.
Ask them to put their heads down when they feel they are done.
If you have got the answer, put your head down.
When most children have had a go, and even if they have not succeeded, ask them to stop. Show of hands. Ask the children the following 3 questions in the order suggested. For question 1, how many of you got the answer 10? Raise your hands.
How many of you have got the answer 10? Raise your hand.
Attending the demo or one child volunteer count. Write down how many said 10 on the board. How many of you got the answer 12? Raise your hands.
How many of you have got the answer 12? Okay. So we'll try another question.
Similarly, write this down. How many got any other answer? Raise your hands. Similarly, document how many said this. Important. Don't tell what is the right answer. Tell the children you will soon discover the right answer. Advantages of warm-up. Understand the present level of a class to teach more effectively. Generate interest using verbal, visual, kinesthetic, or written warm-up. Improve thinking and processing skills through designed productive failure questions. Sharing with observers. Let the teacher observers or principal know productive failure questions are one of several types of warm-ups we do. These involve children in verbal, visual, kinesthetic, and other ways. The choice of warm-up activity depends upon the concept or topic. Observers collect information on both Pop A, warm-up, and Pop D, wrap-up. Share that the purpose of Pop is understanding and mastery, perfection of each concept before moving over to the next. Mastery means at least 90% of the class, ideally all children, can answer the wrap-up questions. Teacher is expected to go back and redo any parts of the concept not well understood if the average understanding is still low. Pop B. Dramatic presentation 20 to 25 minutes. Distribute materials. Start by asking 4 student volunteers to come forward and help you. Clearly explain what you want them to do. Start by distributing 100 boards only. Then distribute 10 buttons of each color, red and green for example, to every child. Double check with the class everyone has 100 board and 10 buttons of each color. Endorse multiples. Ask the class what are the multiples of 3. The class will recite with you 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, etc. Don't stop at 30. Ask them to continue as long as they can. Now ask them to place on their 100 board one red button on each multiple of 3. You two go around the class to see if all children have placed their buttons on the multiples of 3. It is important to go slow initially. Now ask the children to recite with you the multiples of number 4 as 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, etc. Ask them now to put the green buttons on all multiples of 4. But before that, remember, that is important, ensure children do not move the red buttons by mistake when two buttons fall on the same number to put one above the other.
Now put the green button on every fourth number. Green button without removing the red buttons. You are supposed to keep green buttons on every fourth number.
Common multiples and least common multiple. Ask, what are the common multiples of 3 and 4? Let the children answer in chorus. 12, 24, 36. And guess the common multiples beyond the buttons they have placed, such as 48, 60, 72, etc. Consolidate the term common multiples of 3 and 4.
Are you getting any button which is overlapping? Okay. Which one is? Okay. Because it's common in both the numbers. That's why it's overlapping now.
Ask, which is the smallest of these common multiples? Let the children say in chorus 12.
So which one is least, smaller?
From hands-on to written expression. Ask verbally with a different set of numbers on the board to find out with the class the LCM of 4 and 6.
So the answer is? So both of them will meet at which house? 12th house.
Doing this verbally with the class as a whole is enjoyed by the class and saves time. Advantages. Improve understanding by every child's active involvement in hands-on or kinesthetic activity. Teach better the first time. Create memorable and joyful moments. Create clarity of concepts. Slow down to speed up later on. These activities will imprint in a child's mind. They are more likely to remember LCM much better after POP B.
Is the LCM concept clear to you now?
POP C, accelerated learning and the control of error, 20 to 25 minutes. Now that the children understand well the concept of multiples, common multiples and least common multiple, it is time to speed up learning. Each time you ask the class to answer a question, double check how many are getting it right. Fix any problems that arise immediately. Control of error. Thus, accelerated learning and the control of error go hand in hand. Remove all hands-on materials. Accelerate learning. Ask for student volunteers to distribute the perfection handouts provided. Ask the children to write their names,
Fill in the
etc.
entries first of all. Write down your name, class, date, everything. Read the questions properly.
Ask the children to attempt all questions or modules on the first page and put their heads down when they are done with these.
Don't share your working. Do it on your own. And after completing, you are supposed to put your heads down. One more. Next.
Peer checking control of error. Ask the children to swap their perfection handouts with the child next to them. Write the answers on the board and ask the children to correct as examiners. Then sign and write their name on the bottom. If there is a mistake, ask the examiners to put a little dash below or next to it instead of the usual cross. Dash means not yet. It is more empowering than a cross. Ask how many found any mistakes. Raise your hands. Ask them what kinds of mistakes they found. Now teach to fix the mistakes and any remaining misunderstandings. Let the children return the perfection handouts back to the children to whom it belongs.
Make the corrections in your...
The children review their mistakes and correct. Repeat the same process. If time is less, use verbal method as explained earlier to verify quickly. There may be slight variations according to how long the class has already taken to get this far. You may, for example, speed up by avoiding the peer checking. Instead, check verbally with the whole class participating, or have the children self-correct by putting down answers on the board. Avoid asking individual children to stand up and answer. All children must answer with yes or no responses. Control of error. You can ask by show of hands whether all children have understood a module or some of them. You will also know, therefore, whether to clarify and fix any lack of understanding. Many errors children make may simply be careless mistakes. Ask them to slow down and check their own work. At all times, goal must be ironing out of any lack of understanding in any of the modules before moving on to the next set of modules. Advantages: speed up learning to save time. Correct any gaps in understanding. Provide plenty of practice. Ensure mastery before wrap-up. POP D. Wrap up 10 minutes. Conduct the post-test on similar lines as the warm-up. Record the marks in the observer sheet. Write down on the board the productive failure questions. These are difficult questions for most children to solve. Do not write any answer choices on the board. Write just the question, or simply dictate the question and let the children write it down on their rough sheets. Ask the children to try solve this question. Tell them not to share their working or solutions with other children. Walk around the class and appreciate the attempt children are making. Ask them to put their heads down when they feel they are done. When most children have had a go, and even if they have not succeeded, ask them to stop. Show of hands. Ask the children the following 3 questions in the order. For question 1, how many of you got the answer 20? Raise your hands. Have the teachers attending the demo or one child volunteer count. How many of you got the answer 24? Raise your hands. Similarly, write this down. How many got any other answer? Raise your hands. Similarly, document how many said this. Copy all warm-up and wrap-up data on the CAR. Check the CAR. Make a duplicate copy of all observer sheets, one for GCPL and one for the school. Submit one copy to the school along with the photographs, teachers and principals' comments, and a cover letter as provided to you by GCPL. Advantages. Each topic is mastered before moving on the next topic. Provides ongoing instant feedback and helps children learn how to correct their own mistakes. Teachers learn a whole new process that they can use afterwards beyond the demo.